The great ships of the Vox hung in the blackness of space like bright stars. Their hulls glowed with a soft blue light that never dimmed. Inside the command ship, Commander Rex stared at the blue-green planet on the main screen. "Why is half of it dark?" he asked, pointing at Earth. The science officer, Beam, checked his data. "It rotates, sir. One side faces their star, one side faces away. Almost half the planet is in darkness at all times." Rex's skin prickled with unease. The Vox homeworld had 3 suns. Darkness was rare there, a few minutes at most during special alignments. Their entire empire spread across systems with multiple stars or planets that were always lit by reflected light. "And the humans? What do they do during the dark time?" Rex asked. "According to our scans, they sleep in it," Beam said. His voice shook slightly. "They turn off their lights and lie in darkness for hours." The bridge fell silent. Several officers touched their personal light sources for comfort. "Impossible," said Rex. "No intelligent species would willingly enter darkness." Lieutenant Orb, the youngest officer, spoke up. "The data suggests they've evolved in these conditions, sir. Their eyes adjust to low light. They can see in the dark." Rex felt a cold fear in his stomach, but kept his voice steady. "The invasion plan assumes standard conditions. We cannot proceed without more information." He made his decision. "Orb, prepare a small team. You will go to the surface and observe these humans. I want to know how they function in darkness and what weapons they have developed for it." Orb saluted, his face showing both pride and fear at the assignment. 3 days later, Orb and his team of 4 soldiers hovered in their cloaked shuttle above a small human settlement. Their suits glowed faintly, providing the minimum light needed to keep panic away. "Sun is setting," reported Glint, the team's youngest member. Darkness approaching from the east. They watched as the shadow line crept across the land. The Vox soldiers unconsciously moved closer together as they observed. "Look," whispered Orb, pointing. Below, humans walked around as the darkness fell. Some buildings lit up, but many remained dark or dimly lit. Children played outside until parents called them in. No one showed any signs of fear. "They're comfortable in it," said Pulse, the team's scientist. "It's unnatural." As full night came, the settlement didn't become fully lit as a Vox city would be. Instead, patches of light dotted the darkness, with large black areas between them. "Scan that building," Orb ordered, pointing to a house with only one small light visible. "Multiple humans inside," reported Pulse. "Most rooms have no light. 4 humans appear to be in completely dark rooms, vital signs indicating they are in their sleep cycle." Glint shuddered. "They sleep in the void. How do they not go mad?" Their observations continued through the night. They watched humans drive vehicles with only small front lights. They saw a pair of humans walking in near total darkness, using only the light from a small handheld device to guide them occasionally. Most disturbing was the military base they found 10 miles away. Soldiers there practiced moving with no lights at all, wearing strange devices over their eyes. "Night vision equipment," Pulse explained after scanning them. "It amplifies tiny amounts of light, letting them see in what we would consider complete darkness." As dawn approached, Orb made his decision. He sent a message to Commander Rex. **: The humans and darkness are old friends. They have mastered it in ways we cannot understand. They sleep in it, train in it, and have developed technology to see through it. Recommend extreme caution. These creatures know something our species has forgotten, how to make darkness serve them. **: Rex read the message and looked again at the half-dark planet. For the first time in his military career, he felt true fear. Lieutenant Orb's team set up their base in an abandoned barn on a hill. The location gave them a good view of both the small town and the military base. Every soldier carried triple the normal amount of light equipment. No Vox would risk being caught in darkness on this strange planet. "Keep the observation dome fully lit," Orb ordered as they arranged their equipment. We need to gather data without losing our minds. The 5 aliens worked quickly. Their mission was now clear. Learn how humans use darkness as a tool. From their hidden position, they watched the town for 3 days. Each sunset brought new surprises. On the first evening, they observed children playing a game in the growing darkness. "What are they doing?" asked Glint, adjusting his light belt. Pulse checked the scanner. "They call it hide and seek. One human closes its eyes while others hide. Then it must find them." Orb zoomed in with the viewfinder. "They're hiding in dark places on purpose. Look, that small female just crawled under a dark bush." The Vox soldiers watched in amazement as the children happily ran through shadows that would make any Vox adult freeze in terror. "Their young are trained from an early age," said Dash, the security officer. "This is not just biology. It's culture." On the second night, they focused on the military base. "Night training exercise in progress," reported Pulse. 53 humans, minimal light sources. Through their scanners, they saw human soldiers moving through a training course. They crawled through tunnels, climbed walls, and navigated obstacles, all in near total darkness. "Look at their equipment," said Orb. The humans wore small devices over their eyes or helmets with special attachments. Their weapons had no light markers like Vox guns, nothing that would reveal their position. "They're practicing to fight in darkness," Dash said quietly. "Against enemies who need light." "Against us," Glint whispered. On the third day, Orb sent Glint to collect soil samples from the edge of the forest. It was a simple mission scheduled for midday, when human darkness was at its lowest. "Stay in contact," Orb ordered. "Return before the sun drops below those mountains." Glint nodded nervously and left, his sample kit glowing softly. 2 hours later, as the sun began to set, Glint's panicked voice came through the communicator. "I'm lost. My transport broke down in a ravine. The tree cover is blocking most light." Orb quickly checked Glint's location. "Stay calm. The darkness is just low light. Your suit has 12 hours of illumination. It's not enough." Glint's voice rose higher. "There are sounds here. Things moving in the shadows. I can't see them." The team tracked Glint's vital signs spiking dangerously. Fear was overtaking him. "I'm sending Dash to get you," Orb said firmly. "Activate your emergency beacon." "No, there's something watching me from the darkness. I need to run." Before Orb could respond, Glint's signal showed him moving rapidly, away from the planned route. 3 hours later, they found him curled up in a ball in a small clearing, all his light sources turned to maximum power. A circle of harsh light surrounded him, but his eyes were wide with terror. "The darkness was alive," he kept saying. "It was watching me." Later, studying Glint's recorder, they found nothing threatening, just normal forest shadows and a few small nocturnal animals. That night, Orb sent a new message to Commander Rex. "Darkness affects our soldiers' minds here. Humans use it like we use light, for comfort, for play, for military advantage. They train their young to embrace it. Our invasion plan must address this weakness in our forces. The humans' relationship with darkness gives them an advantage we cannot match. They do not fear what we cannot face." On the command ship, Rex read the report and made a difficult decision. They needed to test this advantage in battle before committing to a full invasion. Commander Rex studied the map of the small military outpost. It sat alone in a valley, far from other human settlements. Perfect for a test attack. "We strike at local midnight," he told his officers. "The humans will be at their weakest then." Captain Flair, who would lead the ground forces, looked worried. "Sir, Lieutenant Ord's reports suggest darkness may give them an advantage." "That's exactly why we must test this now," Rex replied. "Better to learn with 30 soldiers than risk our entire invasion force." The plan was simple. 3 ships would land near the outpost. 30 soldiers would attack from different directions. Their goal was to capture the base and take prisoners for study. Captain Miller sat in the dark command room of Outpost 87, sipping coffee. The night shift was always quiet. 12 soldiers monitored the perimeter while the rest slept. A young soldier named Taylor rushed in. "Sir, satellite detected 3 heat signatures descending 10 miles north." Miller set down his cup. "Show me." The screen displayed 3 bright objects landing in the forest. They glowed with strange blue light. "Wake everyone up," Miller ordered. "But keep all lights off. Night protocol." Within minutes, the soldiers were at their positions. They wore night vision goggles and carried weapons with no visible indicators. The base remained dark. "Let's see who our visitors are," Miller said quietly. The Vox soldiers moved through the forest in tight formation. Their armor glowed with soft blue light. Each carried a light rifle that fired energy bolts. "The human base is still dark," reported Captain Flair. "They must be sleeping." The Vox approached the perimeter fence. No alarms sounded. No lights turned on. "Too easy," Flair said. "Cut the fence here." As the first soldier activated his cutting tool, a soft pop came from the darkness. The soldier fell. "What happened?" Flair demanded. Before anyone could answer, more soft pops came from different directions. 2 more soldiers dropped. "We're under attack," Flair shouted. "Return fire." The Vox fired their energy weapons. Bright blue bolts lit up the forest, revealing their positions perfectly. But they could see no targets, just darkness. "Where are they?" A soldier cried in panic. "Spread out," ordered Flair. "Activate all light sources." The Vox turned up their armor lights and threw light grenades into the trees. For a moment, the area lit up like day. But the humans had already moved. More soft pops came from new directions. More Vox fell. "They're circling us," Flair realized. Using the darkness for cover. A soldier screamed as his light pack was hit, plunging him into darkness. The other Vox could hear his panicked breathing over the comm system. "The void takes me," he cried before his signal went silent. From his position in the trees, Captain Miller watched through his night vision goggles as the aliens struggled. Their glowing armor made them perfect targets. "They're afraid of the dark," he told his team. "Use it against them." The soldiers moved silently through shadows, shooting out the aliens' lights before taking carefully aimed shots at the aliens themselves. "Team 2, circle left," Miller ordered quietly into his microphone. "Team 3, take out their ship's exterior lights." Captain Flair knew the battle was lost when the landing ships went dark. Without their guiding lights, retreat would be through terrifying blackness. "Fall back," he ordered. "Emergency retreat." Only 11 of the 30 Vox soldiers made it back to the ships. They huddled inside, shaking, as the pilots desperately tried to navigate by starlight. "The humans are shadow demons," one soldier whispered. "They move without light, without sound." Captain Flair sent one final message to Commander Rex before takeoff. "Humans control darkness like a weapon. Our light betrays us while their darkness shields them. We lost 19 soldiers. They lost none that we could count. Reconsider the invasion, Commander. Earth's darkness is not just a condition. It's their ally." In orbit, Commander Rex read the message with growing dread. His soldiers' greatest fear was the humans' greatest strength. Commander Rex faced an angry group of officers on the main ship. The failed attack had shaken everyone's confidence. "We should leave this system," said Flight Leader Spark. "These humans use darkness as a weapon. We cannot fight what we cannot face." Several officers nodded in agreement. The recording from the battle showed glowing Vox soldiers falling to invisible enemies. It was hard to watch. 19 soldiers lost, and we didn't kill even one human, another officer added. Rex held up his hand for silence. "We cannot retreat based on one battle. Our fleet has traveled too far. High Commander Lux expects us to claim this planet. Then we attack only in daylight," suggested Captain Flair, still shaken from the battle. when their darkness advantage is gone. Rex nodded slowly. Yes, we adjust our strategy. We will attack in full daylight with overwhelming force. The humans may control darkness, but we control the sky. They cannot hide from our ships. In a secure underground room at the Pentagon, Captain Miller showed the alien weapon to a group of military leaders and scientists. They had recovered it after the battle. It fires some kind of energy bolt, Miller explained. Very bright, very hot. But the important thing is this. He pointed to the glowing parts of the weapon. They need light. All their equipment glows. Their ships, their armor, their weapons. Everything gives off light. Dr. Wilson, the lead scientist, examined the weapon closely. It's not just for function. The design suggests psychological need. These beings fear darkness at a deep level. General Park looked thoughtful. Can we use this fear against them? We already did, sir, Miller replied. My team took out their lights first. When the aliens lost their light sources, they panicked. They were more afraid of the dark than of our bullets. Dr. Wilson looked up from the weapon. We need to develop special weapons, things that target light sources specifically. Blackout weapons, Miller agreed. And we need to train more soldiers for complete darkness operations. General Park nodded. Captain Miller, I'm putting you in charge of a new unit. Your mission is to develop tactics specifically against these light-dependent aliens. Yes, sir, Miller said. We'll need to operate primarily at night. That's when we have the greatest advantage. Back on the Vox command ship, Rex watched as engineers worked on new equipment. Our standard light systems made us targets, explained Chief Engineer Glow. These new adaptive lights can dim when needed, and we've developed better night optics, similar to what the humans use. Rex examined the new helmet. It looked heavier than the standard ones. Will it help our soldiers overcome their fear of darkness? He asked. Engineer Glow hesitated. It will help them see in low light, sir. But the fear, that's deeper. We've started psychological conditioning, but it's difficult to overcome thousands of years of evolution. Rex put the helmet down. Do what you can. The first main attack will be in 3 days. We hit their largest military base at high noon, when their darkness cannot help them. Later, alone in his quarters, Rex studied the reports from the planet's surface. The humans were moving troops, but not in the expected patterns. They seemed to be preparing something. A message from High Commander Lux flashed on his screen. Failure is not acceptable. Take the planet by any means necessary. Rex sent a simple reply. We will succeed. But doubt filled his mind. The humans and their darkness were more dangerous than anyone had expected. The sky turned bright with fire as 50 Vox ships descended on the city. It was noon, the sun high and bright. Perfect conditions for the aliens. Begin the attack, ordered Commander Rex from the main ship. Remember, secure positions before nightfall. No unit should be outside protected areas when darkness comes. The ships landed in parks, sports fields, and wide streets. Vox soldiers poured out, their weapons ready. Their new armor was less bright, but still gave off a soft glow they couldn't fully eliminate. Humans fought back hard, but couldn't match the aliens' advanced weapons. By sunset, the Vox controlled half the city and had set up 6 bases surrounded by powerful light towers. First phase successful, reported Captain Flair. All units secure in light zones. Rex nodded with satisfaction. Continue tomorrow at dawn. No night operations. In an underground bunker 20 miles away, Captain Miller watched the invasion on screens. His team of 50 Special Forces soldiers waited for orders. They stopped moving. Miller told General Park over the secure line. All alien units are inside light perimeters. They're afraid of the dark. Good, replied the general. Your team is authorized to begin Operation Blackout. Hit them where it hurts. Miller turned to his soldiers. Each wore black gear with no reflective surfaces. Their weapons were fitted with special attachments. Night is our ally, Miller told them. They've taken our city, but they can't take our darkness. Move like shadows, strike their lights first. Make them feel the dark. At the largest Vox base, Lieutenant Orb supervised the light perimeter. Huge towers bathed the area in bright light, pushing back the terrifying Earth night. Check all power connections twice, he ordered. No shadows, no dark spots. A soldier approached him nervously. Sir, our scanners show movement outside the light perimeter, all around us. Orb checked the scanner. Small heat signatures moved just beyond the light's reach. Humans, he whispered. Activate second-level defenses. Before the order could be carried out, soft pops came from the darkness. The nearest light tower flickered and went dark. Then another, and another. They're using darkness bullets, shouted a soldier as more towers failed. Panic spread as sections of the base fell into shadow. Soldiers fired blindly into the darkness, their bright energy bolts giving away their positions while hitting nothing. Orb tried to maintain order. Fall back to interior positions. Use personal light sources. But the humans had planned for this. Small devices flew through the air, landing among the Vox soldiers. They popped with soft sounds, spraying a black substance that covered the aliens' light sources. Darkness fell over terrified soldiers who had never known true night. Many froze in place, paralyzed by primal fear. Others fired wildly, hitting their own comrades. The shadow demons are here, cried a young soldier before falling silent. From his position on a nearby rooftop, Miller directed the attack through night vision goggles. His teams moved like ghosts through the darkened base, disabling equipment and taking prisoners. One team reached the command center, where they found Vox officers huddled around the last working lights, weapons pointed outward at the darkness. This is how we fight on Earth, Miller said as his team surrounded them. We don't fear the dark. We are the dark. By morning, 3 Vox bases had been destroyed. The aliens' casualties were high, but few humans had died. On the command ship, Rex received the devastating news. They attacked at night, sir. They turned out our lights and moved like they were part of the darkness itself. Rex stared at the reports in horror. The humans weren't just using darkness as cover. They were weaponizing the Vox's greatest fear. They call themselves Shadow Warriors, the report continued. The soldiers are saying these aren't normal humans. They're saying Earth's darkness has given them powers. Rex knew it wasn't true, but fear was spreading through his forces faster than he could control it. Stories of shadow demons that could see in perfect darkness were breaking his soldiers' will to fight. General Park stood before the world's military leaders, pointing at a map covered with glowing dots representing Vox positions. The aliens only move during daylight, he explained. At night, they hide in their lit bases. This gives us a critical advantage. He nodded to Dr. Wilson, who stepped forward. She had spent days studying captured Vox and their equipment. The Vox evolved on a planet with 3 suns, she said. Their species rarely experienced darkness. Their fear isn't just cultural, it's hardwired into their brains. She showed brain scans of Vox soldiers exposed to darkness. The fear centers lit up more brightly than any human comparison. We've developed a formal darkness protocol for all forces, continued General Park. Fight primarily at night. Target light sources first. Use their fear against them. Captain Miller, now commanding 500 Special Forces soldiers, spoke next. My teams have captured 3 command ships. We've learned their language and communication systems. We're ready for the next phase. Dr. Wilson smiled slightly. Psychological warfare. Commander Rex paced inside his brightly lit quarters. The reports were getting worse. Over 20 bases lost in night attacks. Hundreds of soldiers refusing to leave their ships after sunset. A communication officer rushed in. Sir, the humans are broadcasting on all our channels. Rex followed him to the command center. On the screens, a human face appeared, speaking perfect Vox language. People of the Vox, said Dr. Wilson, we know why you fear our darkness. We understand your biology makes Earth a terrifying place for you. The broadcast switched to images of captured Vox being treated well in brightly lit rooms. But there are worse things in Earth's darkness than just the absence of light, she continued. Her voice became lower, more menacing. Things that evolved in the shadows. Things that hunt at night. The images changed to Earth's nocturnal predators. Owls with their huge eyes, bats with their sharp teeth, wolves howling at the moon. For millions of years, our planet's creatures have embraced the night, and we humans learned from them. We became the most dangerous night hunters of all. The broadcast showed human night vision, infrared imaging, and soldiers moving silently through perfect darkness. Every night, our shadow warriors grow stronger. Every night, we come for more of you. The broadcast ended with a simple message. The darkness of Earth is alive, and it's hungry for those who don't belong here. In barracks across the occupied territory, Vox soldiers watched the broadcast with growing terror. Many had already seen the Shadow Warriors attack. The human message confirmed their worst fears. They're using our deepest fear against us, Lieutenant Orb told his remaining soldiers, trying to keep his own voice steady. Don't believe their psychological tricks. But that night, when the lights in their barracks flickered briefly, 3 soldiers panicked so badly they had to be sedated. The next morning, Commander Rex received alarming reports. 50 soldiers had deserted their posts. 200 more reported stress conditions that made them unfit for duty. The psychological warfare is working, reported Captain Flair. Our forces are breaking down. Rex made a difficult decision. He sent a private message to a secure human communication channel, requesting a meeting. Captain Miller received the message with surprise. He wants to talk peace. General Park nodded thoughtfully. Their command structure is fracturing. Rex sees the writing on the wall. Should we meet him? Asked Dr. Wilson. Yes, said the general, but on our terms. At night, High Commander Lux received word of Rex's peace overture with rage. Treason. No Vox surrenders to lesser species. He summoned his loyal officers. Commander Rex has been corrupted by Earth's darkness. Prepare our final solution. If we cannot have this planet, no one will. The officers exchanged worried glances but obeyed. The doomsday weapons were prepared for deployment. Earth's darkness had defeated the Vox armies, but High Commander Lux was determined that darkness would not survive at all. High Commander Lux stood on the bridge of his massive ship, looking down at Earth. The blue-green planet rotated slowly, its night side dark and threatening. Prepare the atmosphere burners, he ordered. If we cannot claim this world, we will burn away its darkness forever. The weapons were designed to ignite Earth's atmosphere, creating a permanent firestorm that would light the planet for years. It would kill most life. But Lux no longer cared. His pride could not accept defeat by creatures who embraced the void. The weapons will be ready in 6 hours, reported his officer. Lux nodded with grim satisfaction. Commander Rex is meeting with the humans tonight. We will activate the burners when they are all together. In a neutral location, an abandoned warehouse, Commander Rex waited nervously. Despite the agreement for a single light source in the center of the room, the shadows at the edges made his skin crawl. Captain Miller entered with Dr. Wilson and General Park. They carried no visible weapons, but Rex knew humans never needed to show their weapons to be dangerous. Thank you for meeting me, Rex began. This war cannot be won by either side without terrible losses. Miller nodded. We agree, but we defend our planet. We will not surrender. I don't ask for surrender, Rex said. I propose a treaty. The Vox will leave Earth in peace if you agree not to follow us into space. As they discussed terms, Rex's communication device beeped urgently. A loyal officer had sent a warning. High Commander Lux had ordered the atmosphere burners prepared. Rex felt cold horror. We must stop this meeting immediately. Your planet is in danger. Aboard Lux's command ship, final preparations for the burners continued. Suddenly, alarms blared. Sir, shouted an officer, a small human ship has docked on the lower level. Lux slammed his fist on the console. How? Our shields. They used Vox codes. Commander Rex's codes. Lux's eyes widened. The traitor. Lock down all sections. Find them. Inside the massive ship, Captain Miller led a small team through the corridors. Commander Rex moved with them, guiding them toward the central command. The atmosphere burners must be deactivated from the main control room, Rex explained. Lux alone has the authorization. Dr. Wilson checked the device in her hand. We have 30 minutes before they're fully charged. As they turned a corner, they met a squad of Vox soldiers. Rex stepped forward. Stand down. I command you as your. The soldiers raised their weapons. Commander Lux has declared you a traitor, their leader said. Miller made a quick decision. He pulled out a special device and threw it at the ceiling. It stuck there, then exploded with a soft pop. The corridor went completely dark. The Vox soldiers froze in panic. Miller's team, wearing night vision goggles, moved swiftly through them without firing a shot. The darkness is our ally, Miller whispered to Rex, guiding the frightened alien through the blackness. When they reached the command center doors, they found them sealed. Lux knows we're here, Rex said. He's locked himself in. Dr. Wilson studied the control panel. I can override it, but we need to cut power to this section first. Miller nodded to his team. You know what to do. They split up, heading for the power junction. Minutes later, all lights in the command section went out. Terrified screams echoed through the ship as Vox crew members found themselves in total darkness. In the command center, High Commander Lux fumbled with emergency lights. Get power back, he shouted. The darkness, it's coming for us. When the doors slid open, Lux saw only shapes moving in blackness. His hand shook as he reached for the weapon on his belt. He fired wildly into the darkness. His energy bolts lit up the room in flashes, revealing glimpses of figures moving closer. In his panic, he hit the wrong console. Warning sounds filled the room. Self-destruct sequence activated, announced the ship's computer. No, screamed Lux, but his trembling hands couldn't find the right controls in the darkness. From a safe distance, Miller and his team watched with Rex as the command ship exploded in orbit. It's over, Rex said quietly. Without Lux and the command ship, the fleet will follow my orders to retreat. 2 days later, the remaining Vox ships left Earth's orbit. The peace treaty included one special term. All future meetings between humans and Vox would be held in well-lit rooms. As the last ships disappeared into space, Captain Miller stood with Dr. Wilson watching the night sky. Do you think they'll come back? She asked. Miller shook his head. No, they'll tell stories about Earth for generations, about a planet where darkness lives and humans command it. He smiled slightly. After all, there's nothing more terrifying than what you can't see.